Why? Why is it that thousands of workers can stop an entire multinational firm from functioning? Teacher protests, train strikes, and all of these things can essentially stop an entire economy from operating. Economists call this trade union power. Hi friends, welcome to Econverse. I'm Abrar and I am a fellow student who topped in my GCSE Economics last year in Oman. On this channel, we make learning economics simpler, clearer, and hopefully a lot more fun. In this video, we're going to be looking at trade unions. Let's get started. In this video, we are going to be looking at trade unions. So what are trade unions? Trade unions are organizations that are aimed at improving and promoting and protecting workers' rights. So they improve, they promote, and they protect workers' rights. I like to remember it with these three words. So they are of the worker, they are by the worker, and they are for the worker. So this is basically a reference to how democracies operate. They are of the people, by the people, and for the people. So similarly, in case of trade unions, they are of the worker, by the worker, and for the worker. So they rely on collective bargaining, which basically means presenting the voice of all the workers in order to negotiate with their employers for better terms, better conditions, etc. So now let's look at the types of trade unions. So when you look at the types of trade unions, essentially there are four main types of trade unions. You have craft unions, you have industrial, you do have general, and you have something called white collar. So craft unions is basically workers with very particular skills. Industrial unions is when you have trade unions that are separated by industry. So for example, you can have the car industry as one union, and you could have the plastic manufacturing industry as another union. In terms of general trade unions, these are basically workers in a range of industries. And lastly, white collar basically refers to workers in extremely highly skilled jobs. Like, for example, doctors are considered white collar workers, so they could take part in a white collar trade union. Now, let's look at the role of trade unions. So, whenever we talk about the role of trade unions, first and foremost, the most important role of any trade union is to negotiate wages. So, they negotiate for better wage rates for the employees, they do improve working conditions. Improve working conditions, that is another important facet of trade unions. Third, they do defend employees' rights. So sometimes employees' rights may not be taken care of in the places that they work. So they defend employee rights. This is really important. So they sometimes also do have to take the role of presenting these employees legally, supporting them legally when their rights are being unfulfilled. Then the fourth important role is supporting. What do you mean by supporting? Isn't that basically the same thing as others? But supporting basically means supporting workers who are unfairly dismissed. What do I mean by unfairly dismissed? So there may be instances wherein some workers are dismissed from work, are fired due to really unfair reasoning. So this, in such cases, trade unions can really support the workers. And then they do have a role of training. They can train the workers and develop them. And lastly, they can take something called industrial action. As we talked in the beginning of this video, sometimes they can protest and they can do all those things to halt employers from producing products and take a toll on the firm's profits, their ability to pay for costs, and their survival. So industrial action. But industrial action can be of many forms. Industrial action can be in three main forms. They could be strikes, there could be overtime bans, and there could be work to rule. These are the three main types of industrial action. So we've looked at industrial action, we've looked at the role of trade unions. Now, when can trade unions really go and argue for higher wages? So this when is a really important question, and this is answered through four main ways. Firstly, they can argue for more wages, especially when there's inflation. What is inflation? Inflation is something we will cover when we do macroeconomics. Inflation basically means that the price level of goods and services in an economy rises continuously. So whenever the prices for products increase, the same amount of wages tends to buy much lesser. So the workers tend to struggle. So they can demand for higher wages when there's inflation. When the sales of the firm increases, sales of firm rises, they could demand for higher wages, because whenever you have more sales, you're essentially making more profit, which could be rewarded to the labor for their effort. And then there's another nice case, which is when the competitors are essentially getting higher wages. So the workers in competitor firms are getting higher wages than your firm, so then you can go with your trade union and do some collective bargaining for higher wages. And last but not the least is the productivity of workers has risen. So the workers, when they are being more productive, they essentially need to be paid more for their efforts. So this is another scenario when trade unions can go and argue for higher wages. What are the factors that affect strengths of trade unions? So the strengths of trade unions are basically measured or are affected by five main factors. So the strength of trade unions can be divided into five main factors. So whenever there is a high level of economic activity, trade unions become especially important, because whenever you have high economic activity in an economy, you're producing many goods, and whenever you produce many goods, there's a lot of labor, so they could become more active and ask for better wages. When there is more members, obviously the collective bargaining now becomes a more powerful force. You have more and more workers who are part of a trade union, so they can essentially argue better. They have much more of a voice. And then higher skill requirements. So whenever skill requirements increase, trade unions tend to become more and more relevant as they provide training. And then when there's high demand consistently, so whenever, as we looked at in the previous video, labor is derived demand. So whenever you have more demand for your products, there is a tendency that there's high demand for labor. And then last but not the least, favorable legislation. So this basically means whenever there's laws that favor workers, there is a tendency that trade unions become stronger. So how do trade unions even raise wages? How raise wages? So they raise wages in two main ways. Firstly, they can raise the wages by reducing the supply of labor. So as we looked at in the previous video, the supply of labor is from the employee's point of view. So the trade union can say, rather than sending 100 workers to work in a day, we're going to send you 60 workers. So essentially, the wage that needs to be paid for each worker increases when you have the labor market diagram. And the second way through which they could raise the wages could be confining skills. What I mean by confining skills is, let's say you have particular skills that you require at a job, and you have a trade union that essentially is the only trade union that has the workers who have the skills for those jobs. So the trade union essentially holds the leverage in order to argue for better wages. Now, let us look at the impacts of trade unions. Now, trade unions generally tend to have a large impact on three main agents of the economy. Now, these impacts are not necessarily always positive, they can also be negative. So, let us look at these impacts. So, I try to think of it in terms of this diagram. I hope you can see it. So, what this diagram says is, for the workers tend to benefit from collective bargaining because they are now able to establish better terms of labor. What do I mean by better terms of labor? Better terms of labor basically means, since they have a collective voice, they can now argue for higher wages because there's a lot of workers and there's a sense of unity. So they feel represented, increasing their morale and their motivation, and there is much lower chance of them being discriminated and exploited and losing their rights. The workers, however, may get lesser wages or none if they go on strikes and if they take industrial action, because the firm's output would fall, their costs would rise, and they would simply make no profits. So they would refuse to pay their workers overall, and this could significantly have an impact on workers. And now, higher skilled workers may be affected by trade unions. This is because whenever you have highly skilled workers, they may be paid greater than the other workers. So, this could lead to trade unions arguing for equity in the wages, and because of which the higher skilled workers may suffer in earning low wages because of the sense of unity. Now, for firms, time is actually saved in negotiating with a union rather than negotiating with each individual worker. And then trade unions cooperation can help organize workers really efficiently, because now you're essentially having communication going with a lot of workers at the same time with a collective body. And whenever there's mutual respect and good relationships between the trade unions and the firms, there tends to be higher business morale and rise in productivity. However, the disadvantages are that decision making may take longer because there needs to be discussions with trade unions all the times. And then trade unions may make some demands that the firm simply may not be able to meet, like higher wages. This can affect the profitability and the workers' interests, and the firm will need to make a decision that has an opportunity cost. Higher wages that are bargained by trade unions will reduce the firm's profitability. They will have high costs, low outputs if the unions can organize agitations or industrial action. On an economy, trade unions can ensure that labor force in the economy isn't exploited and their interests are being represented. However, the total output can be negatively impacted when there's industrial action. The firms can now decide to substitute all the labor that they have with capital. So there could be high levels of unemployment, and higher wages that result from trade union activity can make the nation's exports expensive because they rise the firm's costs. So any firm that exports its products now becomes less competitive in the international market. So that is all for the impact of trade unions. So in this video, we have looked at all of trade unions. If you think this video helped you understand economics better, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to join the Econverse. I'll see you again in the next video where we're going to be looking at firms.